Hey guys, what's up? I'm JK with Elevated Recovery, and today we're going to be talking about the 5 types of porn recovery personalities. Now, it's obvious that relapses are a big part of the struggle that most guys who are struggling with pornography face today. And whenever I take on a new client, one of the first things I try to figure out is what I call their relapse personality or their recovery personality. You won't read about this in any book or find it anywhere online, but I put it together after noticing certain patterns in men when they relapse. And I discovered that there are 5 distinct ways in which porn addicts respond after they relapse. This is actually tied in to your personality and how you view recovery. Now, when you can identify the type of recovery personality that you are, you'll be even more aware of your relapse and you'll actually put yourself in a better position to interrupt it. So today I'm going to break them down and I'll give you the best way to adjust your recovery to kind of suit the response that you have. Now, the first personality or the type of guy that I'm going to mention is called the counter. Now, for you, counting days is recovery. So you basically compulsively count down the days that you've been off porn and masturbation. So at some point, you've used a calendar or an app to mark down the days that you've been off porn. And for you, success is determined by the number of days that you stay sober more than any sort of neurological change that happens in your brain. The second is the all or nothing guy, and you tell yourself that you are either all in or all out with no slips or relapses. However, when you're not all in, you're straight up living in your addiction. So you may do this for a few weeks or a month and then decide once again that it's time to go all in on your recovery. Now, this all or nothing attitude towards recovery is what keeps you stuck in your cycle of addiction. Because what the attitude actually states is that I will live as an addict until it gets so bad, then I'll try again. So this all or nothing personality this sort of person can be sober for about a year and then promptly relapse. That's a huge risk. The third is what I call the prisoner. Now, you lock yourself up in a prison of rules. You use filters, accountability apps, some of you even use lock boxes, but you've done it all. And you believe that as long as you keep yourself locked down and isolated from pornography, that recovery is going to somehow happen. But it never does for 2 main reasons. The first is that you end up developing a victim mentality. Something like, recovery is so hard, it's like living in prison. And because you believe that recovery involves locking things up, you never actually do anything else in terms of recovery. You still fantasize and you're always looking for triggers that you can contain or lock down. And this prisoner personality experiences a lot of strong emotions because you believe that you're locking these things for your own good, but your actions actually show that your addiction is in control. So the lack of control over your life and living a life of fear to accidental exposure to triggers causes a lot of background anxiety and sometimes even depression. The fourth personality is what I call the logical personality or the logical guy. And you're always looking for a plan or coming up with your own recovery plan, which never works. And you believe that if you follow a plan logically, step by step, then of course success is guaranteed. You're usually a pretty intelligent guy. Usually you're an engineer or you're in technology or any of the STEM fields. And logic has always worked for you. And it frustrates you when it can't be applied to your recovery. So your stubbornness often causes you to live with your addiction and you just keep experimenting with different styles of recovery in the false hope that some sort of logical recovery will actually take place. The fifth personality is the innocent guy. Now, I call this the innocent personality because you usually have a deep need to be viewed as a good person by society. So you're deeply invested in your image of yourself as a pure and good person who doesn't do things like watch porn or masturbate. So maybe you're a religious leader or a business leader or a father who is looked up to as a good example by his family, or you grew up in a family where you were given a lot of praise for being good. And since you believe that you are a good person who shouldn't be doing things like this, you feel that this should somehow be motivation enough for you to recover. You feel that intrinsically you can cure yourself, you can get over your recovery. But as you and I know, that doesn't work. Now, personally, I identify with the innocent guy and the counter. I think early on in my addiction, I spent a lot of time counting. And once I had counted past 300 days and I still relapsed, I just realized, you know what, I can't keep going through life wondering whether the next year is the year I'm going to relapse. And in terms of being the innocent guy, I was raised in a very conservative family. So I believed that, you know what, I'm a good person. These are not things I'm supposed to do. But that wasn't reality. The reality was that whether I was a good person or not, I was dealing with something that was behavioral. And who I was not going to save me. So I'm very curious to find out what personality or what type of guy do you identify with? Go ahead and share it with me in the comments. And guys, if you've reached a point in your life where this problem has taken over your life, if you've reached a point where you're crossing certain boundaries and doing certain things that really don't match up with who you are, then you probably need to talk to someone and reach out to me. Use the link in the description below and set up a time to speak to me about your issue.